Good afternoon to all of you, and it's really nice to be back to Copenhagen and to Denmark, the country that I had the pleasure to serve as a representative more than 10 years ago. Let me start by thanking the Danish UN Association for the kind invitation and all of those who have contributed to the organization of this very important event at this emblematic place, Kerstenborg. As you may know, today marks the 48th anniversary of the infamous Madrid Accords, whereby Spain handed over the administration of Western Sahara to both Morocco and Mauritania in violation of its obligations as an administering power and in total disregard of the right of the people of Western Sahara to a credible and genuine process of decolonization. Besides their illegality, Madrid Accords remain a disgrace for both the former colonial power and to all of those who were involved in this conspiracy and its aftermath. To answer the question that was proposed to me about what's necessary for creating a real peace in Western Sahara, let's recall first that almost 60 years ago, the United Nations recognized the then Spanish Sahara, the now Western Sahara, as a non-self-governing territory. The UN recognition of the international status of Western Sahara as an issue of decolonization also reaffirmed the inalienable right of the people of Western Sahara to self-determination and independence in accordance with the United Nations General Assembly Resolution 1514 of 1960. It's also important to note that the very General Assembly Resolution 1514 formed the basis of the UN Security Council Resolution 690 of 1991, whereby the Security Council, and under its authority, established the United Nations Mission for the Referendum in Western Sahara that Mr. Morscott was telling you about. In line with relevant UN resolutions and norms of international law, the right of the people of Western Sahara to self-determination and independence is inalienable and cannot be affected by the passage of time or by the realities created by force by the occupying power Morocco in the territory since 1975. Moreover, the people of Western Sahara, as a people of a non-self-governing territory, do not have only a right to a self-determination process, but also a right to exist as a people and to have permanent sovereignty over their national resources, among other rights, of course. Now, considering that the essence of the right to self-determination is free choice, it is very important to underline that no genuine and credible process of exercising the right of self-determination in the case of Western Sahara can be possible without the Sahrawi people, and only the Sahrawi people, being able to make a free choice to determine their political states under the optimal conditions of freedom, fairness, transparency, and without any military or administrative constraints. For the Frente Polisario, any self-determination process must be based on the independence option, which from the beginning has always been the demand of the Sahrawi people under the leadership of their sole and legitimate representative. This legitimate national demand has also been cemented by decades of resistance against colonialism and occupation, culminating in the establishment of the Sahrawi Arab Democratic Republic, the SADR, in February 1976. Any process that would undermine the free choice of the people of Western Sahara or predetermine the outcome of their choice would therefore be inconsistent with the right of self-determination under international law and relevant UN resolutions. Furthermore, any approach that takes as its starting point the so-called existing political realities, quote unquote, in the name of realism or practicability is very dangerous. Not only because it cannot be conducive to a just and enduring peace, but because it would reward Morocco for illegally using force to occupy and annex a UN-recognized non-self-governing territory in violation, obviously, of the UN Charter and relevant norms of international law. Finding a peaceful, just, and lasting solution to the question of Western Sahara in line with the relevant norms of international law is not only urgent, but also possible. However, for a real peace process to start and succeed in Western Sahara, there must be a genuine political will on Morocco's part to move away from unilaterally and forcibly imposed solutions and be willing to work with us through dialogue and negotiations to achieve a peaceful, just, and lasting solution in the interest of our two peoples and the peoples of the region. We, the Sahrawi people, are strongly committed to peace, and we have made tremendous sacrifices and all sorts of unimaginable concessions for the UN peace process to succeed. But the peace we need is a peace that's based on the solid foundations of justice and international law, not a peace imposed by brutal force. Because that kind of peace can never be just or enduring. And in this sense, and as Mr. Northcott referred briefly to our proposal, indeed, in 2007, we put on the table a very generous proposal based on UN resolutions saying that let's go for the referendum, the essence of the self-determination, and if the Sahrawi people choose to be independent, then the Sahrawi Republic would be very willing to establish strategic relations with Morocco and with the neighboring countries. But first of all, we have to give the last word to the Sahrawi people. Now, those who are genuinely concerned about stability in North Africa should realize that supporting the autocratic regime in Morocco for whatever political or economic reasons is no guarantee of regional peace and stability, and that its continuing occupation of parts of Western Sahara remains a source of instability and insecurity in the whole region and beyond. For its part, the UN Security Council should realize that the passive attitude with which the Council has managed the UN peace process in Western Sahara over the past decades has only aggravated the situation and hampered the quest for a peaceful and enduring solution. What makes the situation even worse is the hands-off approach supported by some key members of the Security Council, which is largely based on the assumption that because of certain geopolitical consideration, the least costly solution in political terms would be to maintain the status quo and leave the parties to resolve the conflict by themselves based on their power relations on the ground or other sources of power. This is an extremely dangerous approach, whose dire consequences are there for everybody to see, especially after Morocco violated the 1919 ceasefire and triggered a new war in Western Sahara. The Security Council and the international community at large should also realize that the self-determination referendum remains the only compromise-based solution, which has been accepted officially by both parties, the Frente Polisario in Morocco, and unanimously supported and endorsed by the Security Council. So for this reason, what is really needed is just to fully empower MINURSO to fulfill its mandate and hold the referendum. Morocco, the occupying power in Western Sahara, has no legal basis whatsoever to support its position, regardless of any arguments that they may advance. Its position is solely based on the brutal force, with the hope that with time its might may give it right to the territory. Now, given the indisputable international status of Western Sahara as a decolonization issue on the agenda of the UN since 1963, the question before the international community and the free world simply comes down to this. Do they allow the logic of force to prevail in North Africa and thus allow Morocco's military occupation of parts of Western Sahara to endure with impunity? Or do they defend the principles of international law and therefore ensure that the Sahrawi people have the chance to exercise their inalienable right to self-determination and independence freely and democratically. In a rules-based international order, the answer should be very clear, because the logic of force cannot be an option. The only option, therefore, is to defend the principles of international law and bring the decolonization of Western Sahara to its conclusion through the free, genuine, and democratic expression of the sovereign will of the people of Western Sahara in the exercise of their inalienable right to self-determination and independence. In conclusion, the exercise by the Sahrawi people of their right to self-determination and independence through a credible, free, and democratic process is the only option to achieve a just and durable solution in Western Sahara. After all, in its essence, the right to self-determination is about the people concerned making it free choice, not for someone else making that choice for them. And I thank you for your attention.